Not all that glitters is gold. I've been advised by my lawyer to say, in my opinion. So all of this is in my opinion. But y'all know what it is. Mind you, remember she's an actress, so this is all acting. They told you not to ask. They told you not to ask. Get out of here. What do you mean they told me not to ask? When we asked you in pre-production, what did you say? Nada, nothing, nothing. It's never that deep. When you hear the words manipulation, coercion, control, gaslighting, you usually associate it to a relationship, right? This is what I went through whilst working with this platform. There was no duty of care. Energy that was given was just kind of like, you know, niggas get shot every day, you be aight. I might not be safe here. Exposure doesn't pay my bills. I have a whole child to feed. I need money. I don't have to be here. I don't have to be here. So why is your bum still glued to the chair? Or you remained in the seat and you finished the interview. Miss, I don't need to be here. Mind you, they didn't pay you because they didn't pay anybody on that platform. If you sign this contract, you're basically signing away your soul. She's a liar, she's very vindictive, and she's a slithering snake. Because you wanted a viral moment. You know I'm that girl that gets the viral moment, and you wanted it. Instead of you to send me flowers and say, thank you for letting me go viral, but never give up your own thing, because that's the lesson that I learned here.
It's my time to shine. If you doubt it, I'll do it. Love's on my side, so I'll prove it. It's my time to shine. If you doubt it, I'll do it. Love's on my side, so I'll prove it.
It's midday.
Hello, beautiful people. It's your girl, Mide Oni, the one and only. And you guys are back watching another episode of the Midday Show. Whoop, 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 whoop. I know it's been a while. Where has she been? It has been nearly 2 years since I've been consistent on my channel. And so much has happened. And I feel like I owe it to my subscribers, to people that have been following my journey, to just kind of like give you guys an insight of what has been happening. So grab your teas, your coffee, your cocktails, your mocktails, whatever it is you guys are drinking, and let's get into it. But before we get into it, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Don't just be spectators. Make sure you support the journey. Okay, thank you. Now let's get into it. So, for those of you that don't know, I was doing the Midday Show. I think I started in 2023. I think it was 2023. I started my talk show. The vision came years before, and it was something that I knew I was destined to do. So I started to pursue it, and I would release an episode every single week without fail. I was so consistent, and I loved it. I loved showing up, giving you guys hot topics, giving you guys fit check, Ask Auntie Midday, shout out of the week. Go and check out the previous episodes because it's actually a really good show. And I was building my community, building my platform, you know, just enjoying the process. And in the midst of that, I was approached by a particular platform. And said platform said that they wanted to start a show and they wanted me to be the host of the show. Great, right? I'm like, oh my God, I'm making strides in the world. Like, things are happening for me. So we went in for a meeting. The concept of the show that was shown to me at the time was an interview by John Mayers. And I don't recall what station it was on. I think it was like CBS or CNN or one of these American platforms. And it was a very serious interview, like, based show, right? And I remember saying, like, I'm not a serious babe like that. I'm very jovial. Like, I'm actually a joker. So I don't know how I'm going to portray this very, like, serious and intense person. But, you know, they was like, yeah, you can do it. You've got this and whatever. And I think there was a series of mistakes made here. But the first mistake that I made was not praying about it. I went into this situation and just thought, oh my God, this is an amazing opportunity. I'm just going to run with it, right? And let me just start by saying not all that glitters is gold. Okay, so now before I get into the actual depth of the story, I've been advised by my lawyer to say, in my opinion. So all of this is in my opinion, but y'all know what it is. Anyways, when you hear the words manipulation, coercion, control, gaslighting, all of these amazing buzzwords, you usually associate it to a relationship, right? This is what I went through whilst working with this platform, in my opinion. It was great at first. It was amazing. Everything was going well, you know, like when the first episode dropped, I think it did like 100K in like a week or something. It was a success. And I thought, won't he do it? God is able. Like, I was so gassed. And I remember speaking to friends and family, and everyone was just like, yeah, this is great and whatever. And I just kept on going with it. I kept on believing that this is where I was supposed to be. So yeah, things kept progressing. Things were fine. I didn't really have a problem. And then the infamous interview happened, right? And when that interview happened, that is when I learnt about production. Now, I can't really say too much because I signed an NDA in regards to that interview, so use your imagination. But that's when I learnt about the art of production, right? And after the interview, I didn't really think much of it. Obviously, I was dragged severely by the pubic hair. And it was very shocking to me because even till this day, I'm still a bit confused why the hate was so intense, because I don't know any of your mums. I never slapped any of your mums. Like, it was literally just an interview. It was a bit unwarranted. I mean, 2 years later, we can all come to the agreement that it was a bit extra. But, you know, I let you guys have your moment. That's fine. So, obviously, I got dragged a lot and whatever. And thankfully, when it was happening, I was in Bali at the time, so I was able to switch off from it. But I just want to put into perspective how intense the dragging was. I was getting tens of thousands of DMs from random people that I don't know from a can of paint, telling me what a bitch I am, what I would never make it. Sometimes I was even getting death threats. It's never that deep. It's actually never that deep. But, you know, God is good all the time. His grace and mercy endure forever. And I remember coming back and speaking to, you know, the platform and saying, like, this is a lot. Like, this is a bit more than I would have expected, right? And one thing about me is that I have very, very tough skin. Very, very tough skin, yeah. Even tough skin can be penetrated. Just because you have tough skin doesn't mean you don't feel anything. You know what I mean? So it was a lot. And like, I remember kind of voicing that, yeah, this is a bit much. Like, I don't necessarily feel like it was warranted, or, you know, like, this is, how would I say it? I don't think this is what I should be going through. And there was no duty of care. There was no, okay, what can we do to kind of help you? Or is there anything that we can assist you in? The energy that was given was just kind of like, you know, niggas get shot every day. You be all right. That was kind of the energy that was given. And I think from then, I realized that I might not be safe here. As I'm telling this story, there are so many points in the journey where my nervous system was telling me this ain't right, you know, but I just kept ignoring it. Maybe because of my ego, maybe because, I'm not gonna lie, I wanna get out of the ghetto. Like, I don't wanna be in the hood forever. I'm trying to make money. So, you know, that was kind of my driving force as well. I'm thinking, yeah, I wanna be rich and famous. Like, I don't wanna just be doing the same things that I was doing last year. Like, I wanna make a name for myself. So there were a lot of things that were kind of driving my commitment to staying, even though parts of me was kind of telling me that this might not necessarily be where you should be, right? So a number of other things were happening behind the scenes that I was thinking, I don't know about this. So another thing that I will speak on is that I never saw the episodes prior to it coming out. So whatever you guys were watching was what I would watch. So if there was maybe, for example, I might have said something that in hindsight, maybe I should have worded it different or whatever have you, I wasn't able to edit it out. So the perception was just created for me, right? And that was, you know, in the back of my mind, I thought, again, this is a bit odd, but I didn't make too much of a fuss about it, right? But as the interviews kept on going, I remember, because at this point I wasn't being paid, right? So I was like, I need to start getting paid. I ain't doing this shit for free. Like, I want to get paid, you know? So I remember asking, oh, I want to get paid. And the response was very much, you know, we're not making any money. Okay. We're not making any money. We're not even breaking even, this and that and whatever, whatever, whatever. So I'm still just continuing this expensive hobby at this point because I'm paying for my travel, I'm paying for my hair, I'm paying for my outfits, I'm paying for my makeup, I'm paying for everything, right? And there's no reimbursement. And it was just kind of like, so what's the benefit here? And I remember asking, like, what is the benefit here? And it was just like, you know, you're the face of the show, you get exposure, you... Exposure doesn't pay my bills. I have a whole child to feed. I need money. I'll be so real. But, you know, I still stayed. I just want to premise by saying, nobody held a gun to my head. I chose to stay on my own accord. So that is a lesson here. I chose to stay on my own accord. I'm not blaming anybody for making me stay. I would say, in my opinion, things started to go a bit left, right? So if you've been following me for a while, yeah, I would do like rants on social media. I would like to consider myself a conversation starter. So I would talk about different topics. I would also sing. If you guys don't know, I have a voice of an angel. Yes, I do. Obviously, I had my show and I loved going on TikTok live. And these were all things that I was encouraged to stop. I was told to stop going onto TikTok live because you don't want to give the people too much access. I was told to stop doing my rants because we don't want to confuse the audience. We don't want to give them too many variations of you. I was told to stop doing my show because it's a contradiction to that show. I was told to stop singing because why would I be singing? And again, these are things that I chose to adhere to. But they were, you know, offered as a suggestion, but more of an ultimatum, you know, more of an ultimatum. And I adhered to do it. So I stopped doing my show. I stopped doing all of these things, and all in the name of trusting the process, because that's what I kept on being told. Trust the process. Trust me, I've been in the game for 15 years. I know what I'm saying. I know what it is. And who am I? I'm just a baby girl. I don't know nothing about this. I've been in this game all of 2 seconds. So I don't actually know how things work. I'm just going off of this veteran, right? I was told to stop doing all of these things, and all in the name of trusting the process. But the process, honestly, just wasn't really making sense because I'm investing into this show that is not mine, that I have no creative control over, that I don't have a say of what happens. I'm basically, for a lack of a better word, a puppet. And the only thing that I'm getting in return is exposure. This is just an expensive hobby. That's basically what it is. And in my personal, humble, and usually accurate opinion, it's exploitation. Now, I don't have a problem with being used if it's mutually beneficial. So you're using me, in my opinion, to, you know, do this show and whatever, whatever. But what am I getting apart from the exposure that doesn't pay my bills? I'll wait if anybody has an answer, 10 points. So it just got to the point where I just started to I started to feel a little bit frustrated, right? And then it got to a point where there was talks of management, yeah? And we filmed some content that would give an insight to who Mide Oni is. And, you know, it seemed as though it was going in the right direction. But after we filmed that particular piece of content, nothing happened. There was no communication. For 4 months, there was no filming. Now, I just want you guys to understand where I'm, like, the position that I was in. I've been told not to do my rants. I've been told to give up my show. I've been told not to go onto TikTok lives. I've been told not to sing anymore. I've basically been stripped of my identity, essentially. And then I've now been left on I don't even know what word to use. I've basically been left by the wayside because they've gone to go and shoot another show. So then I started to think to myself, why am I putting my destiny and my career and the vision that I've had for 10 plus years into someone else's hands? Why am I doing that? So I started to do my own content. And it wasn't my show, it wasn't the rants or whatever. It was just kind of like think pieces that I would put out on Instagram. And in 2 weeks, I gained 5,000 followers on Instagram, the most followers that I had ever gained, even whilst working with that particular platform, because I was just being myself. Now, I want to make something very clear. The person that I was on that show, it's not to say that that's not who I am. That's a part of me, but that's kind of like showing up to work. Who you are at work is not necessarily who you are with your friends and family. You know, you kind of have to code switch, right? And I would say that I was kind of code switching because, like I said, I'm a very jovial person. I'm a very banterful person. I'm a very silly Billy, you know? And kind of having this stern type of energy isn't necessarily who I am, but that was what was required for the role. So everything outside of that was being stripped away. So then when I showed up as myself, people were engaging with it, because one thing I've learned about this social media game is that your authentic self is always what's going to win. When you show up as your true and authentic self, that's what people connect with. You know what I mean? So when I showed up as myself, I got the most followers that I had ever gotten since working with this platform. That ruffled some feathers. Apparently, I'd gone and done my own thing. I was basically deviating from what I was told to do. Again, the control, the coercion. And that's when things went even more left. And I remember asking, like, okay, you keep telling me to trust the process, but for how long? And when I say that there was manipulation, yeah, one thing about manipulation is that it's very slow and very subtle. You don't know that it's happening. I liken it to a rat chewing your feet and blowing it at the same time. So you don't know that the manipulation is happening until your toes are gone. That's basically what was happening, because things would be said like, I mean, you can try and do it yourself, but when people try and do things themselves, does it really work? You've got a team behind you here. You've got people that are invested behind you here. So you can go and try and do it yourself, but it probably isn't going to work. Sorry? In hindsight, I see that that was a manipulation tactic, in my opinion. And something else that would be said, oh, I've got so many people, so many different girls in the DMs that want to take your place, that they want to be the host of the show, that they're just itching to host the show. That's basically like a man telling you, I got bare girls on me, fam. Bare girls in the DMs. Bare girls want me. You what, mate? Why are you telling me that? Again, in my opinion, manipulation. And now, like, I would definitely call myself a very confident person, someone that is very sure of herself. But I think when these little things are being whispered in your ear, it's like seeds being sown in you, and you start to listen and think, hold on, can I do this on my own? People want to take this place. Like, I have to perform. I have to be a show pony. I have to show the people that I can do it. you know, and you start second guessing yourself. You start buying into the lies that the devil is telling you, for lack of a better word, you know? And this is essentially what was happening through the course of my journey there. So then after that, what happened was a second host was brought in. Oh my God. When the second host was brought in, I lost it. I remember having that meeting and just be like, no, you men are violating. Like, that's how, like, we took it back to Peckham. Because I was thinking, excuse me? After everything that you've made me give up. And then now, mind you, I'm still not getting paid at this point. So I've been told to give up everything that basically formulated my character with the premise that you're the face of the show. That is the benefit of you being here, right? You're the face of the show. Just for you to come and tell me that you're bringing in a second host. Oh, hell no. So I lost it. I lost it and I left. I said, I'm not doing this anymore. This is bullshit. This is bullshit. Like, you are taking the piss. So I left the show, and those of you that have watched the show, you'll notice that there was a host that did one episode. And I said, I'm not doing this anymore. This is ridiculous, right? And after that episode, we got back into conversation and I said, I'm not coming back unless I get paid. I can't just be doing this without getting paid. Prior to this, we didn't have a contract in place. So when I came back, a contract was drawn up, right? But we headed straight back into filming. So I didn't read the contract. I just started filming, but I never signed the contract. I never read it, but I never signed it. We went straight back into production and we just kept it cracking, right? And every time I went to sign the contract, again, without reading it, which is very stupid, it's like my hands would be shaking. It's like I just couldn't sign the contract. I could not sign it. I remember the day I went to sign it, I actually sent it to my lawyer and I sent it to ChatGPT. And both of them came back to me and said, shout out to ChatGPT because she be saving lives, right? And shout out to my lawyer. Both of them said, if you sign this contract, you're basically signing away your soul. Hello? Is everybody listening at the back? If you sign this contract, you are signing away your soul. Why? Thank you for asking. The contract said they would own my name in perpetuity. My name. As if my parents just picked me up in Asda. My name. Can you imagine? They would own the likeness to my image in perpetuity. If for you people that don't know what perpetuity means, it means forever. Forever. As in, as long as Jesus reigns. That's how long they would own my name and the likeness to my image. As if I didn't go to uni. Excuse me? It also stated that I didn't have any creative direction, which I never had anyway. It also stated that they could fire me at any time, but I had to give like 3 months notice or something stupid along those lines. The slap in the face, the cherry on top, that they would pay me after nearly 2 years of begging for payment, that they would finally pay me. Drum roll, please. How much would I get paid? I'm just going to leave you guys to ponder for a little while. Have you guys come to your decisions? Yeah? 50 big British pounds. That's not even a lash appointment. 50 pounds. That's not even my nails. Jesus. I just said, yeah, it's time for me to wrap this up. But the final cherry on top was the DSF interview. devil's wife was the cherry on top as to why I finally decided to walk away. I'm just going to call her Dorcas. With the Dorcas interview, there's a certain narrative that has been pushed out there. One being that I asked questions that I wasn't supposed to ask, which is a lie from the pits of hell. Another one was that I said something that she didn't say, which I'm going to clear up because I went back and watched the interview again today with timestamps. So anybody that comes onto the show, they are asked pre-production, are there any no-go questions? Meaning, is there anything that you don't want to talk about? Obviously, this was extended to Dorcas and her team. We asked her what you don't want to talk about. She said the only thing she didn't want to talk about was somebody that she had had a working relationship with. I'm not being funny, but who cares? Why would we talk about who you've had a working relationship with? Why is that even good TV? I beg, what don't you want to talk about that's relevant? She was doing, oh, I don't know. I just don't want to talk about anything that's too controversial. Now, anybody that's educated knows that that is very subjective because what you will deem controversial, I might not deem controversial. So be specific. What don't you want to talk about? Her and her manager were not answering the question, so much so that the interview was cancelled. It's not that deep. We don't need to interview you. If you don't want to be straightforward, pack your load and be going, right? Another reason, because she wasn't the person that we initially wanted to interview. We wanted to interview Cuban Link, 50 Cent's ex-girlfriend. Somehow, some way, remember, I'm not part of pre-production, so I don't know what the steps were, but somehow, some way, the interview landed into her lap and she agreed to do it. So if you're not being straightforward on what you don't want to discuss, then it's not that deep, bro. Keep it pushing. Anyway, after we cancelled the interview, she insisted on doing the interview. I want to repeat. She insisted on doing the interview. Okay. Let that just stick into you lot's mind, though. Okay. So I've now been told about the interview. I don't know this girl from a can of paint, but I've obviously been following her journey. You know, she's done well for herself. She thought, wow, I would love to interview Dorcas. Like, I think she's great. Prior to knowing her, of course. I was excited to interview her. I went and I did my questions. Remember, she hasn't said that we can't discuss anything, right? If you Google her, there's two controversial things that will come up about her. The Taxify driver situation and her ex-boyfriend Skibby, outside of her work things, right? So obviously, if you follow how the show goes, you know that we go through all of your history, regardless of how far back it's been. That's just how the line of questioning works. So that's what I did. That's how I created my questions. By the way, I was the one that wrote all the questions and I still wasn't getting paid. I just want to make sure that we put that in. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, when she comes into the building, I go and greet every single individual that comes onto the show, you know, to build a bit of a rapport, for us to kind of get warm with one another, you know, before we get into the interview. As soon as I go and to greet her, let me even put this down. As soon as I go to greet her and I'm just like, hey, babe, you look amazing, because let's not lie, she's a beautiful girl. You know, she looked stunning. And I said, hi, babe, you look amazing. I said, eh? I don't know you. I don't know this babe from a can of paint. I've never seen her in my life. I don't know if I was involved with one of her men or something. I don't know. But the energy that she gave me was, I said, shit. I don't know what that was about. But I said to myself, do you know what, Mide? Let's not make it about you. Maybe she's had a bad journey in. Maybe, you know, she had a bad day. Maybe a number of other things could have been happening where it's not about you. So I just chose to ignore it. I'm quite a bubbly, jovial person. I get on with 99.9% of the people that I meet. Right? Because it's never that deep. It's never that deep. So I thought, do you know what? She'll warm up. I left her by the door with her manager and I went into the room. When she came into the room, the first thing she said, is there going to be drama? Why would there be drama? It's now clocking to me why there would be drama, because she wanted the drama. Let me proceed. She now sits down. We're doing the interview now. She's still frosty as hell, but, you know, we're getting through it. I ask about the Taxify driver situation. She starts, her mood shifts, right? I ask about her ex-boyfriend. Her mood further shifts. Now, if you knew you didn't want to talk about those particular topics, why didn't you say it in pre-production? 4 points for anybody that can answer. 10 points for anybody that could answer this. If you know those are your most controversial topics and those are the main things out about you on Queen Elizabeth's internet, why didn't you say it in pre-production? Because you knew I was going to ask about it. This is my opinion. This is my theory. You knew I was going to ask about it and you wanted the drama. We've moved on from that topic now, and I've gone into a particular podcast that she's gone on to. Now, I asked her a question, not verbatim. It wasn't word for word, but it was definitely along the lines of what she said. I even watched it the other day, and I'm going to insert the clip right now.
Do you feel that a lot of men objectify you, though?
Yes, 100%.
How do you know that?
I can just tell. You can, oh, come on, you're a woman now. You can tell. Like, when
Tell me how I can know is different from how you can tell. So
yeah,
you tell me how you can tell.
the kind of messages I get. I mean, they don't outright say I want to F you, but I mean, you know, their approach sometimes can be different. And I don't, you know, sometimes what I've put out before has been a bit, you know, raunchy, so I understand it.
What I said was, you said that sometimes men lead with sexual advances. Is that not what she said? It wasn't verbatim, but it was along the lines of what she said. Next thing you know, but they told you not to ask these questions. But they told you Why are you shaking like a chicken? Mind you, remember she's an actress, so this is all acting. They told you not to ask. They told you not to ask. Get out of here. What do you mean they told me not to ask? When we asked you in pre-production, what did you say? Nada, nothing, nothing. So why all of a sudden are you shaking like a chicken when I've asked you the questions about your most controversial issues? If you knew you didn't want to talk about it, why didn't you say it in pre-production? Hello, hi. But it's all part of the drama that she wanted. She wanted a viral moment. So now all of this is happening and I'm just sitting there thinking, Kinoshe baby, I'm confused. What's doing you? So confused where this energy has come from. I said, can we stop the cameras so that we can clear this up? Because I'm genuinely lost for words here. She said, no. Keep the cameras rolling. Why do you want the cameras rolling, Dorcas? Why did you want the cameras to continue rolling? Because you wanted the drama. Oh, she's hyping up here and she's just like, you're just messy. You're just looking for drama. And it got to the point where I'm just sitting there like, do you know what? At the end of the day, there's only so much that I can take. The same blood that's running through you is the same blood that's running through me. And I know myself, I can be very reactive. I can be very combative. Yeah, I know that about myself. There's only so much that I can take. So she starts talking. I said, hello, what is going on here? I don't understand. Why are you shaking? What's your problem? So that's when she started saying, but you're supposed to be professional. You're supposed to be... I'm just like, babe, this ain't BBC. You didn't come here with a professional attitude. So I'm giving you the whilst that you came to come and give me. Don't tell me that you're supposed to be professional. You're talking to me anyhow and you think I'm just going to sit here and take it. It's not done. Where do they do that? Where does somebody sit to you and then they're abusing you, and then me too, I'll just be sitting there like a mumu. It's not done. So yes, I was reactive. Yes. And then she started saying, and mind you, a lot of this has been edited out, yeah? But she was saying a whole bunch of things. Oh, that's why Temelo dragged you. Oh, I graced you with my presence and this is how you're behaving. Sorry, Odogu. President General, you graced me with your presence. Who the hell are you? What the hell are you talking about? I don't have to be here. So why is your bum still glued to the chair? Be going. If you don't have to be here, but you remained in the seat and you finished the interview. Miss, I don't need to be here. Mind you, they didn't pay you because they don't pay anybody on that platform. So why are you still here? Because you wanted a viral moment. You know I'm that girl that gets the viral moments and you wanted it. Instead of you to send me flowers and say, thank you for letting me go viral. Thank you for giving me a moment. You're running your mouth. Anyways, after that, we were able to finish the interview, yeah? Apologized to her because in the moment, I was like, do you know what? I'm the host. Let me settle myself down and let me apologize, right? Because on God, I even swore on my child's life, and anybody that knows me knows I don't play when it comes to my child. I do not play. So I was like, I swear, I did not come here for this drama. I genuinely thought we were going to have a great moment, right? But I was very like, I'm so confused how it went left. So I've apologized now. We finished the interview, right? Hence why we were able to take pictures. Those pictures are not AI. Those pictures were not artificially generated. Those are real pictures. Those are her 32 teeth shining. That's her leg hiked up like a flamingo. That's her hand on my waist. Why's your hand on my waist if you don't like me? Huh? Oh. So we've taken the pictures. I'm not thinking that we're going to be best friends, but I'm thinking, we had a conflict, but as humans, we resolved it. Part of human interaction, sometimes you have conflicts. You move on, get on. Like, it's whatever, innit? I never thought we were going to be friends, but I thought, we've at least resolved the situation. Next thing you know, after the interview. Oh, sorry, before I even move on, right? Now comes to post-production, right? Now, in the 2 years that I've worked with this platform, I have never asked for an edit. Not once. Like I said to you guys previously, when things come out, when you see it is the same time I see it. But this particular one, I said, they gave editing rights to Dorcas. Sorry? So she said, I want this part in. I want people to see when Mide showed herself as unprofessionally. I want people to see where she did this bad thing. I want people to see what she said. Okay. Even I didn't really care about that. I said, okay, do whatever you want to do. If you want people to see me this way, you can see. I don't care. Do what you want to do. I asked the one particular person, he knows himself. I asked him, please, can you edit out 58 seconds? 58 seconds. Just a chin-chinny thing. Nothing special. 58 seconds. It's not gonna happen. It's already edited. It's done. Wow. But Dorcas was able to edit everything that she wanted. Bar certain things. I think there was a few things that they told her no, but for the majority, she was able to edit most of the things she wanted. But the host that's been working there for nearly 2 years, 58 seconds, I'm not allowed to edit. I said, Mide Oni, if you know what's good for you, get going. Pack your bag and leave, because these people will kill you. And I mean that figuratively. They will finish you. They will finish you. So I said, no. This is nonsense. This is actual nonsense. So anyway, after the episodes come out now and whatever, obviously the I Hate Mide train is in full effect. And this is another part of my theory. She already knew that there's a lot of people out there that they don't like me. There's already a I Hate Mide train. And she wanted to ride that train on a viral moment to pour into whatever agenda she had. How do I know that she had an agenda? She told Esther Falana that she does not like me and she's coming to show me Pepe or Shege, whichever word she used. Is that not somebody with an agenda? You don't know me, babe. Why don't you like me? What did I do to you? I know I date a lot of men. I don't know if one of them is yours. I'm sorry, but I don't understand. Because what reason do you have not to like me? And then you came to come and create a problem. You wanted a viral moment. My thought process is that she wanted to have a Temelo moment. Yes, that's my theory. She wanted to have a Temelo moment because after the interview came out, any blog that will post it, she'll be like, yeah, because this girl, she didn't really. If you don't like me, you don't like me, I don't like you. So that makes the two of us. Why are you so intent on commenting on everything that the blogs are posting? Why are you sticking to me? Why are you on me? I'm not into girls. Be going. You don't like me, you've said it. I don't like you too. Go about your business. Why do you have to comment under every single post that's being made about me? It's a bit weird. And then she said, I'm a weirdo. And then she blocked me. Why are you blocking little old me? I'm so irrelevant. I'm just a speck on your shoe. You graced me with your presence, Queen of Sheba. So why are you blocking me? So I say all of this to say she's a liar, she's very vindictive, and she's a slithering snake. Yeah? And she came there to create a problem. And the only reason why I didn't respond to it, I left it purposely because she wanted a back and forth. And I said, I'm not giving it to you. I'm not giving it to you. That's what you wanted, and I'm not going to give it to you because you're a nasty, dark spirit. You're a nasty, dark spirit. And I don't know what spirit is working through you, but by the special grace of God, I pray that you will get your deliverance in Jesus' name. I pray that you'll get your deliverance and the devil will stop using you. Because if you ask about this girl, nobody has a good report. Everybody that I've told this story to that have worked with her have all said that she's a nasty girl. Nasty. Anyway, let me not go too in because that one I said I'm not holding back because I don't care about this girl. She's nasty. Yeah? But anyway, I say all of this to say, after that incident, I said, no, Mide, I remember I had already been saying that I don't feel safe here. So I said, it's time for me to go. And that in addition to the contract and all of the other things that had been happening, I just said, yeah, it's time for me to go. So the reason why I'm even talking about this year is because even though, you know, I had to add a bit of flair and seasoning and pepper to my story because that's just how I am when I tell stories. But I say all of this to say, yeah, if you are getting into this industry, if you are trying to be a creative, whatever it is that you are trying to do, it is so important to have ownership. I don't like bouncer, aka bouncing ball. But one thing I respect about him is him continuously pushing the fact of owning your own IP, having ownership over your content. All of the things that he says is factual. Because all of that content that I had with them, not one penny, not one shilling, not one cobble did I receive. Is that fair? Yes, nobody forced me to stay. I stayed on my own accord. Because I know some people will be like, no, but they didn't tell you to stay. That's not the point here. The point is, let's look at the numbers. If you've got a platform with 500,000 subscribers, each episode on average is doing about 100K views. That's about 3K per episode minimum. Let's even say 2K. Let's push it down to 2K. Well, you can't swing me a little 200, 300 pound. Is that not wickedness? This is the greed that the Bible talks about. In my opinion. This is the greed that the Bible talks about. Because there's no need to do that. And I do feel like it is easy to kind of control, when you're a man, it's easy to kind of assert and control a woman. Because I don't feel like he would have done this had this been a man. This is just my opinion. I don't feel like he would have done this. And I'm not playing the victim. One thing about me, I don't have the victim mentality. I learn from my situation and I move on. But I don't feel like this could have happened had it been a man. Because you know men are very audacious and they put themselves first. I don't think this would have happened had it been a man. But yeah, that's my 2 pence. So like I was saying, if you are in the creative space, just always pick yourself. Always put yourself first. You can work with people on a collaborative basis, yeah, but never give up your own thing, because that's the lesson that I learned here. I gave up so much of what I was pursuing, so much of the things that I had invested in, so many things that I loved doing. I stopped doing it because I was trusting the process, a process that amounted to nothing. To nothing. Just an expensive hobby. So that being said, Nobody on that platform is getting paid. Not one person, not even the guests get paid. So it's all just going to one person, which I think is absolutely shambolic. I think it's disgusting and disgraceful. But, you know, what can you say? But anyways, I just wanted to let you guys know about my story. If anybody sounds bad in this story, it's because they are. But I don't necessarily say this to bash anyone, even though it does in some respects sound like a bashing. The only person I wanted to bash was Dorcas. I stand 10 toes down on that. But apart from that, I wasn't trying to bash anyone. I was just telling my story and how I've been done wrong. Like, let's call a spade a spade. I have been done wrong. But, you know, we grow, we move, we elevate. We shine in fabulousness, and that's all I'm gonna do. I wish them well. Oh, I try to say that with a clean heart. I don't wish them bad, and I think that's a happy medium. Yeah, I think that's a happy medium. Maybe one day I can get there where I can wholeheartedly, with a pure heart, wish them well. But for now, I don't wish them bad, and I think that's great in itself. But, you know, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe because your girl is bad. Mide Oni is here to stay, and now we're doing it my way. Bye, guys.